In the last video I did about Neville Goddard, I talked about how the use of imagination, he actually got that a little bit wrong, and how you can improve it. And I'm going to hook that up at the end of this video. But here's what I didn't have time to tell you, which is that there is one Neville Goddard technique that actually works, and we're going to build upon that in this video to help you manifest faster and easier. And I'm going to explain exactly why that technique works, which is much more important. And after I applied it, I had letters from pension companies giving me £50,000 I hadn't heard of in 35 years, I had no idea about. And the truth is, I didn't actually manifest those in the sense that we think about it. I actually shifted myself in a version of reality where those resources already existed. And by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly how that happens, how you can do it, and why it works. And that's really the important point of this video. Now, Neville was revolutionary, for sure. He said consciousness creates reality long before science even hinted at it. He told us to live in the state of a wish fulfilled, to assume the feeling at the end. And that's all cool. That's all great stuff. But actually, why does that work? And actually, what he didn't say, and he was right to a degree, is that he didn't realize what a state was. That's what this video is about, understanding what that state of consciousness is that we have to adopt, and it's essential for you to understand it. Now, Neville thought he was rearranging a physical world, this world, through his imagination. And in truth, a change in state was really moving through different, distinct and real worlds of consciousness. That's the difference. That's the bit we're building into. And so let me reiterate, these aren't kind of non-physical worlds. These are each worlds as real as the one that you are experiencing right now. That's the leap. It's the part he never kind of went forward with. But for me, it's the most important understanding about the nature of reality, that there are limitless physical realities just as real as this one, and that manifesting is actually a change in that world. That's what manifesting is. And once you understand that, everything you've ever tried to manifest, it becomes easier, begins to make sense. That understanding of what changing our state forces reality to do actually is the deeper understanding of not only manifesting, but the nature of time, soul, cause and effect, karma, and an awful lot more. Now, before we go into this, if you do love to explore this type of thing, understand the nature of reality, manifest the life that you want, and you want to learn practical techniques, please do like the video if I've earned that, and do subscribe to the channel for more. I'm absolutely positive you're in the right place right now, and it really helps to share these ideas much more widely to create a more loving and spiritually aware universe and reality. And so here's why this whole idea actually matters to us as conscious creators and manifestors. When you realize that each state you hold actually has its own real physical world, then manifestation stops being a battle to kind of hold that state. You're not forcing a change in one universe. You're not forcing one reality to bend to your will. You're actually selecting which version of a multidimensional reality you want to experience. And that is the power behind Neville's teaching of states. That's why we're starting to build on it more and more and more. And the part that we can finally see why it works. Understanding this, I think, is the doorway to understanding and experiencing the multidimensional reality that we're moving into, and also your multidimensional consciousness. It is the next phase in human development on this plane for sure, to embrace an understanding of there is much more than one God, one physical reality, and one physical universe. Now, since childhood, my introduction to this, my out-body experience at the age of 3, through these experiences that I had from then kind of up until now, one thing became undeniable, that what we call physical reality actually behaves more like a dream. We'd get on much better if we thought it was a dream than a physical environment in traditional terms. I'm not saying it's not real. I am saying it's not physical. It's coherent and it makes sense to us only while we're in it. It's also not a physical environment at all in the way we think of it. I mean, right now you're not floating on a planet in space, even if you think you are. And that's a pretty big thing to get your head around. And once you step beyond physical reality through an expansion of your own consciousness, you are and can experience this as the state of consciousness it is, and not the physical environment. And that gives you more power in manifesting. I'm going to cover that in other videos. But above all, we have to make this practical, because if we can't use it, it's kind of useless, isn't it? So take a moment now to think about the last time you were deeply inspired. You had a new state, new opportunity, fresh relationship, burst of energy. Now, in those moments, the world seems to shift and create slightly differently, doesn't it? Events seem to align a little bit better. Our experience of time often shifts and changes. New people arrive, new chances open up. We feel different. Everything matched that inner state. And as we know, that's not a coincidence. But the key is, of course, understanding why. And this leads us much deeper. So that change in state, we need to be able to replicate that so that we can manifest what we want. I'm going to get into that in another video, as I said, but that's the key. That change in state actually creates a complete change in consciousness. You're selecting a new probable physical world, a new probable reality. We call the earth, we call it the universe. It looks solid, it looks physical. And the fact is, there's a version of you in that old probability. There's a version of you in the new probability after you change that state. The soul is multidimensional. That's key to a deeper understanding. And both yous think that they're the real one. They're both having a physical experience. They're both correct. They are both real. And so let's just pause and ask ourselves right now, are you in manifesting trying to change the one world because you think that's what you have to do? Because that's impossible. There is no one world. Or are you living as though there's already multiple worlds and that your goal as a manifestor is simply to choose the one that you want? That's a completely different experience. It's much easier to manifest that way because it actually leans into rock bed reality. Now, if you've explored science at all, we know that it's catching up. It's beginning to admit that matter isn't solid, what we call physical. It's mostly space. It's mostly kind of potential waiting for an observation. And that's the bridge that we need to make. And in my own experience, supported by a body of work called the Seth Material, my own personal experiences throughout my life, it's become clear that every thought, every emotion creates a brand new state of consciousness. It doesn't build on the old one. It's a brand new one. It's a brand new reality. And that's key to understand. Seth said, you create not only what you know, but you do what you create. Every thought is an act of creation, forming its own reality and attracting others like it. Also, that each thought and emotion gives birth to a brand new probable reality. These probabilities are as real as your physical world. You may never focus on them, but they do exist. Every thought, every emotional tone then isn't passing through you. It's actually forming a whole brand new world inside your own broader consciousness. And when you hold the state steadily enough, you don't bend matter, you actually stabilize that brand new world. I hope that makes sense. You're not creating a new universe, you're kind of choosing an existing one to inhabit as yourself, and then reality will actually flow through you differently. And as I wrote in my own book, The Dream We Call Earth, reality is a canvas upon which consciousness paints its thoughts. Pretty poetic, but it's true. And so physical reality here is where those paintings come alive. We get to choose, we get to walk inside them, we get to touch them, we get to learn from what we've created. That's the purpose of physical reality. And we are entering now a multidimensional phase, going out from the religious to the new age, now the multidimensional one. And in practical terms, here's one small example of how I prove this to myself. I decided fairly recently to live as a version of me that could actually retire if I wanted to. Financially secure, pretty secure, but I knew that there was a reality where that happened in terms of a pension. I didn't visualize numbers or repeat affirmations. I just thought about pensions. I didn't do angel numbers. I didn't hold crystals. I didn't wait for a star sign, pray to Waboon, Lord of the Underworld, stand in a sacred circle. That's all completely unnecessary. I simply chose to inhabit a consciousness calmly. A few days later, letters arrived from an old pension company I absolutely 100% did not know I had taken out. Contacted me in a brand new place, brand new address that I had never given to anybody. And they found me at the address, and £50,000 dropped into my lap. Now, that was brilliant. Just one example of thousands in my own life. But to me, that wasn't me kind of bending reality. It was my experiment of actually choosing a reality. It's one of the thousands of examples in my own life of flexing my ability to use consciousness and psychic communication, because that's how consciousness works. The outer world isn't the cause. We need to switch it around and realize that it's the mirror. You change your state, change your mind, change your state, and the mirror changes instantly as a brand new reality that is as real as any physical reality could be. So the deeper truth is this, that what Neville glimpsed as kind of assumption, Seth describes as the use of probable realities. Both are describing the multidimensional nature of existence, really. So reality isn't a single timeline, it's an infinite field of probable states. And in our terms, we're talking about the physical state. There are countless versions of you, all real, all existing simultaneously, thinking they're the real one and that you're the probable one. And you move through these through a change of focus and belief. That's why manifestation works at all. For me, that's the more interesting part. And if this world were truly physical, fixed, no amount of thought or emotion could ever change it, could it? It'd be impossible. So it's not. But because it's consciousness appearing as matter, it responds instantly to new states. That's the evolution, if you like, that Neville never really reached, but it's the one that we can live now. So the next time you practice anything, you practice, say, Neville's techniques around assumption, or you're exploring the Seth material and you're talking about probable realities, you're not actually pretending. We need to get over pretending and hoping. We need to recognize we're transitioning to a new reality. And when you know why reality that way, it stops the guessing or the hoping or the praying. You're not kind of praying, you're using mechanisms of consciousness, you're learning a new skill that's going to transform not just this life, but all other ones. It also, I think, fulfills the purpose of your life, which is to learn how to be a conscious creator. You're literally moving through awareness from one version of reality into another. And if you want to go deeper into this, into how consciousness really operates across dimensions, then you can get a copy of my free book. It's called The Dream We Call Earth. There's a bunch of 7 or 8 audios which will take you deeper into it, really going to blow your mind, but also be really helpful as well, which is really the point. They're going to take you much further than I can in a fairly short YouTube video. So in the next video, I'm going to break down a 3-step protocol I use to shift states and to maintain those states. So do subscribe if you're interested in that. It's the same process that made those pensions letters arrive and gave me that £50,000. And comment below if you're interested in that, and I will get it out as soon as possible. And if you missed the video about the use of imagination, what Neville Goddard missed about imagination, then click the link around this. It's another foundation for your manifesting journey. And remember that you're not changing reality, you're changing the reality that you experience. Really, really interesting stuff. If you found that interesting, do like the video, subscribe to go even deeper, and have a great day. If do answer comments, so do comment below if that's useful, if you have any questions or any ideas that I can make videos about. And as I say, subscribe to the channel, but just like the video, let me know what you want, if it was useful, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.